One of the things I hate most about being a writer and creator is looking back on my old work. I've been doing these videos for YouTube for a while now, a little over a year, and I've been writing stories basically since I could read, and yet over all that time, I have yet to look back at a piece I've created previously and not cringe at all the horrible things I did and terrible decisions I've made when putting together that work. You can probably imagine then my disgust at the original video that this one is based off. Granted, it was my first attempt at a deck dossier and I was still very much trying to find my way in terms of the layout of my videos, but that doesn't make it any less cringy to go back and watch for me. Nevertheless, it is also horribly out of date, and that's why I've decided to make this video, as the dossier itself was outdated even within just a few weeks of me releasing that video. So, unlike the proper deck dossiers, I'll only be going over newer cards that have either been released that fit the deck's playstyle since then, or ones that players have started using because they just work so well. At the end, I'll also have replays showcasing my version of the pure build, but I won't go too in depth with them since anyone watching this video has likely already seen the deck dossier that it's based off. And yes, I said pure version, not the invoked hybrid. While I am very happy that my boys have been a constant thorn in the meta thanks to that invoked archetype, the dossiers are meant to be more about the pure version of the deck, or at least the more viable pure version, hence stuff like Shino birds existing, and why this video won't mention Sky Strikers, since those builds have been covered to death by others. Anyway, let's begin. One of the newer cards is World Legacy Memory, an archetypal quick play spell that does a lot for the deck. With a hard once per turn, it lets you summon a Mekk-Knight from the deck in defense, but returns it to your hand during the end phase, and you can only summon Mekk-Knights for the rest of the turn after that card resolves. Very rarely will you use this card on your own turn. Being a quick play means you can place the monster you summon in the appropriate column to negate an opponent's effect via the spell trap lineup, interrupting their plays and making it easier for you on the following turn. I also found myself summoning Purple Nightfall about 95% of the time with this card, as you can banish itself to search during the end phase before it has to return to the hand, meaning you get it back on the field next turn as well as another Mekk-Knight in hand. So not only does this card boost the consistency of the deck immensely, but it aids in slowing down the opponent to beat them over easier next turn. I run 3, and I really don't see why you'd run any less. And next we come to the card that's become a meme in the eyes of many within the Yu-Gi-Oh community, Mekk-Knight Avram. Localization aside, this card's place with the archetype and the deck is entirely dependent on the playstyle you wish to enforce, but I run it at 3 and here's why. Since I'm focused on the pure build without engines such as Sky Strikers or Invoked, the card actually does a hell of a lot for the deck itself. Being a normal summon means you can summon Morningstar turn 1 virtually every duel, and when you throw in a couple rescue rabbits, this makes it even easier. It also allows rank 4 access in the deck, which can help the player get over all around problem cards with that versatility. While it is something that you definitely will want to test out yourself, I've found the card to be integral to the consistency and power that the pure build can produce, and so that's why I recommend running it along with 2 copies of Rescue Rabbit. An Instinct Morningstar is too good to pass up, and this card makes it bringing it out so much easier. Speaking of Morningstar, let's talk about it. Summonable by using any 2 monsters so long as one is a Mekk-Knight, you can discard a Mekk-Knight or World Legacy card on summon to add a World Legacy card from deck to hand. Additionally, while it's on the field, any Mekk-Knight that battles a monster in a different column to itself can't be destroyed by that battle, and you take no damage from those battles. The strength of this card clearly lies in the on-summon effect. While it is a hard once per turn, it helps fill the holes your hand may have had at the start of the turn. Got a spare copy of one of the negation back rows that you won't use? Pitch it and search one you don't have. Already used Rescue Rabbit to summon 2 Avrams to use for the summon and had the 3rd sitting useless in your hand? Send it and get your negations ready for your opponent's turn. It helps cover your bases so much easier than before. The battle protection is nice, but given I run Future Glow in the deck so that dropping 4k beaters is commonplace, it's not really needed, but barely anyone seems to be aware of it, so it's nice to have. I run 2 of them as you will rarely summon a 3rd, but I've heard of people doing that, so it's something to consider. Beyond that, there are other cards that help support the build that I didn't mention in the previous video and are worth checking out. The first of which is Brilliant Fusion, as you can send Lazuli with Avram to summon Seraphonite and then get back said Avram to normal summon, link the 2 away for Morningstar, and still have a normal summon available if needed. It's worth thinking about. Unexpected die can also be useful for getting free materials on board for Morningstar. And beyond that, hand traps such as Ash Blossom, Called by the Gave, and Droll and Lock can work wonders for the deck by slowing down your opponent if you've got a bad matchup or starting hand. Cold is especially useful as the negation trio can't stop hand traps, so it's one you definitely want to consider. Another card that's rather useful for achieving the same goal is Nightmare Corruptor Ibli. While she's best used in decks that can extra link, she's definitely one you want to experiment with. Her first effect is an instant Morningstar beyond the first turn. Funny how he keeps coming up, almost like it's a good card or something. And if your opponent has no way to instantly link her away themselves, they're unable to special summon. I don't run her myself, but it's worth thinking about as a stall option. The last card that I want to mention in this part of the video is World Legacy Survivor. For those wanting to really focus on getting to the negation trio such as myself, this is the card that helps you get to them. Excavating the top 5 cards, then adding one of any Crawler or World Legacy card to your hand can be extremely good for getting to that final negation piece. Beyond that, if you're a gimmicky bastard like myself and are running Future Glow, the milling effect will often result in a level 7 or 8 being in the grave to banish on activation. I'm currently running 3, but play around with it. And that's it for the newer cards. Again, since I'm focusing more on the pure builds, that's why I haven't touched on things like Invoke, Sky Strikers and whatnot, as you can find them easily, and well, that just wouldn't be fun or interesting if I just made a video on stuff you'd already seen. I also didn't touch on the extra deck because it is so modular with these guys, even though I personally rarely go into it. So that's something you want to consider as well when you're going forward, is what sort of play style you'll want your extra deck to fill. But for now, to show you how the deck works now with all these updates, I'll hand you off to myself to go through some short replays just showing off what the deck is really capable of these days with all the new support. So as always, take it away, me. Thank you, me. We're going to pick up right where we left off, guys. And we're going to jump straight into the first replay here. So we've got 4 replays to share with you. And basically what we're going to go through is show off how the deck plays now, especially with the newer support. So our opponent here is playing the new Nordics, which I do want to try out actually, but I'm not 100% certain how well that would go. Either way, it's what they're doing. So they're just going off doing their shenanigans. In our hand here, you can see we've already got one of our negations. We got, what's the name? The Indigo Eclipse. I always forget the names, I just know what they do per colour. But you can see here we draw the Survivor, so we're able to excavate top 5. We decide to get this one, World Legacy's Memory, just because of what I said earlier about consistency and stuff like that. But you can see as well, we've managed to pitch a level 7, which would be good if we run into Future Glow. See here, drawing into the Rescue Rabbit, Avram, instant Morningstar. And last of the video, you pitch the 3rd, get the searches, there's your Future Glow, get back the one you, as you can see here, with Future Glow you have to banish one, get it back with Key, you got 4k beaters on board, and you can see here we got World Legacy Memory to search something out, as well as our negations and a revival as well. So very nice start there. You see, thanks to Morningstar, it does come in handy there, so we can crash into a 4k beater nice and easily there. Like I said, the negations don't count for graveyard and hand, so it does make it a bit trickier. But you can see here, we search that, open that up, negate Odin, not that we really need to. He drops the Soul Charge, which means we don't have to worry too much about all that. But we see, because Thor would have just negated all of our effects. It's not really necessary, but and this is what I was talking about here. World Legacy's Memory lets you summon, search, and then in our standby phase, I get it back. So now we've got a full field of 3.5k plus beaters, which is insane. Plus battle protection, you know, all that sort of good stuff. We've got 2 negations on board, an instant fusion in hand to pick up one of our opponent's sponsors if we want to, but they're just going to scoop it up. Because you can see here, just crash, beat over, attack. Easy win. That's the power of this deck now, is especially if you're like me, gimmicky bastard, play Future Glow. Running over decks is so easy, and now thanks to World Legacy Survivor, Memory, you know, trade in, 7 swords and all that sort of stuff, getting to those negations is so easy. So let's jump into the second duel here. We're playing up against a mirror match to an extent, actually. He's playing an interesting little tech here in Soul Drain to stop, you know, hand traps and stuff, I assume. But you see here, we're just digging further, getting our stuff on board. We've already got a Morningstar in hand. We banish that so straight away so that we can get to the blue sky, so we don't have to worry about losing him, although it's virtually impossible to happen, just in case. Here we choose not to pop the memory, just because we do, pretty much. And yeah, so we get it all back. A couple of lates on board, level 5. These searches off this. It's a bit of an interesting dynamic here when you're facing off and doing a mirror match. We see you're just pitching, searching, future glow, just pumping up those stats nice and high. You can see here he's only got a Whispers and a Soul Drain on board, so Soul Drain does nothing, Whispers does nothing. He can search something with his do a Sky, but we're going to negate that with our own secret, and he's just going to scoop it up, because from here it's just a simple matter of attacking over. Well, because the Whispers isn't going to do anything in this situation because our attacks are so high, so it keeps it nice and simple. So let's jump over to the third replay now. And this one really shows off how well this deck can dig to get to your negations. So he's setting up for next turn here, which is simple. But you see here, Rescue Hour, we've already got the one in hand. But Morningstar, pitch to search. So now we've got 2. World Legacy Survival, searching out. We search another one of itself. So we're setting up for next turn again, because although they can get very high with Future Glow, if you don't get Future Glow, quite often you won't have the OTK. But you can see here we've dug to the Whispers, so we're all set up now for all 3 negations. And if I just pause it really quickly, you can see we've got a bunch of the Mekk-Knights in the graveyard. But it means the one that we summon off of, well, World Legacy Whispers is going to increase that so we can start the training. But the one we search off Secret, or summon off Secret, sorry, we'll be able to summon to any place. Unfortunately, he did have the second calling, but he could only summon it. He had to summon it in one of the columns that the Mekk-Knights are in. So GG easy, because that's all he could do, and it's all he could do, and everything's going to be negated. So nice and simple. Now on to the last replay, which is against True Draco Metal Foes. This is a rather long and rather good replay. I very much enjoyed actually playing this one out. So I don't know this deck too well in terms of Metal Foes, so I'm not exactly sure what his game plan is. So we're just going to go full throttle here. We got double Future Glow, which is unfortunate. You run 3 because you want to get to it, but having more than 1 in hand is also a bit of a detriment, so you might want to play around a bit with stuff there. Metal Foes counter, unfortunately, is summoning out stuff. Makes it nice and easy for him to survive. Like I said, unless you got Future Glow on board, you're not really going to OTK your opponent that often. It's more about digging to the negations, and Future Glow is just there to basically, be able to push for the OTK. You can drop more than 1 on the field at once, but you're also then clogging your back row, so you got to think about that as well. He's just going off over here doing Metal Foes shenanigans, picking apart our board. Mithrilium is nuts, so I quite enjoy that. We're able to get around it with the Purple Nightfall, as you can see here. But again, he's just setting up. Neither deck is really an OTK deck, which I think is what makes this replay so good, is because it's more sort of a grind game. You got to sort of outsmart your opponent. So here, yeah, we drop the Future Glow because then we want to pump our monsters up. So nice and high stats. You can see here just dropping these 4k beaters on board. He does have the True Draco Apocalypse though, which means everything gets halved. But here you can see we're going to work around that. And I know the reason I popped that is to draw out the summon, because I didn't want to leave Mithrilium on board for his turn. So here he's just doing some standard, True Draco shenanigans, shall we say. Going through, just chewing through his resources, going like that. Again, that halving effect has really, stuffed us a bit. But as we're going through here, yeah, you can see. So we're at a point now where, we pop the World Legacy, this one here, because this means we would have been able to beat over it. He has to search out another True Draco Apocalypse here and tribute that one. So it's basically just a game of resources at this point, using our negations, using what resources we have, and how easy it is to drop monsters on board to go there. Again, more digging, get the Rescue Rabbit, and again, Avram just putting in work. Getting to the World Legacy Survival. We could have searched something up, but I wanted to really dig through the deck, see what I could get to. And then, yeah, dropping that. We go for the Spectrum Supreme, which barely comes out these days. And again, searching the blue sky to make sure that we are ready for next turn. Not exactly sure why I didn't attack here. I'm pretty sure it's because I didn't want to pop Mithrilium, even though I should have. But nonetheless, here we are. I was pretty certain I wouldn't have got OTK. Drawing the key to the World Legacy is amazing for us. Keeps it nice and simple. He's able to summon out that, but it's not going to matter in the end. He's left with very little to work with. And so he's going to try and do stuff, but we're going to negate that because it's technically a spell. World Legacy Whispers is up. We're going to work through it, push past it. He's going to try and draw into stuff. He does draw into the return, which is good. And just so much back and forth. But here, yeah, so we've gotten to the point where Blue Sky doesn't have any targets left. But Thousand Eyes Trick just going to suck him up, go for Wyncrer, and because there's no targets, we're going to go and win the duel. So that's sort of how everything can come into the play here. So you saw Future Glow forcing out the True Draco Apocalypse. You saw, you know, others like Mithrilium being forced out, effects being forced out, because that's what Mekk-Knights do. Is either you've got to stop us from getting to our negates, or you've just got to grind through all of the searchability, all of the versatility, and everything that we can do to do that. But that's this part of the section of the video done. I shall hand you back to myself, and we'll wrap things up. And that'll bring this video to an end. I do hope you enjoyed, guys. This is going to be something that I'm probably going to do every now and again if I feel like I'm getting behind on a video, just because it means I can get a deck dossier out, but also catch up with old stuff. I know, for example, one of the ones I did initially, Mythical Beasts, has quite a few updates since then. So that might be something I jump to. It definitely won't be updates in the same order that I release the videos, but something to consider. This will be coming out at the start of November, hopefully, because I'll be done with uni by this point that you're seeing this video. I will be able to jump in and really grind through some deck dossiers for you guys, because I've been slacking in the past couple of months. So expect one to come out by the end of this month. I'm not exactly sure what deck yet, but we will see. And I also have some more content coming your way, both for Yu-Gi-Oh!, Skyrim, and a couple of surprises as well. So until next time, guys, this has been The Sage as always, signing out.